Hi, it's Jared from Strong Roots Farm. We're back, day 4 of our lean-to build. It is Christmas Eve, so Merry Christmas. And we will get into today. We've just got a few hours to work before we have to go to our festivities this evening. So we decided to piddle around a little bit and work on our lean-to where we've been. So we're gonna put in some angles. I'm gonna show you that first, do some other things that's coming up right now. All right, so we're working on these angles, and so they look nice. A lot of people think they're just decorative though, and they are not. They are the structural integrity of this corner that keeps this building from leaning this way or this way, this pole. So you get your pole set on plumb, it was perfect, and so we go in here and we start this. I'll take you through and show you how to make each cut, but this is basically what you're doing. You're looking to make a 45 up here against these plates. So we start with that 45, I hold it against, bring it down and kind of get an idea where my 2x6 is gonna be. I'll go in and show you the cuts, but basically this comes down, has a flat spot, sits on a nice 2x4 that we kind of 45 just for decorative. I tend to make these exactly 1 foot so that they're all the same. They all kind of look like we knew what we were doing. And this beam is toe-nailed in, but it also sits on this block. So this helps the structural integrity, keeping it from going back and forth, adding a little bit. And we are, with a 2x12, we're spanning 15 feet, which is the max a 2x12 can handle as far as a joist. On a span for a lean-to, I tend to stay in the 12-foot range. It seems to be pretty good for trailers and getting tractors in and out, but it's also very good and secure to hold weight as far as your 2x12. But by doing this angle, we've now taken 2 foot of pressure off of this 2x12 right here. So instead of spanning 15 feet, we're now only spanning 11 essentially with that master weight. 2x12 can easily handle that, and we will always have them doubled. So we put our tie-in boards back here for our joists, as you saw in the previous video. We will cap this back with another 2x12, holding up those joists and doubling the strength of this header. So let's go ahead and I'll show you how I make these things. Okay, so we're in the shop. We had to move this stuff in here yesterday because of the rain, but we've got our board, got our 45 cut on our board that we then measured up, and I drew a line about where I want the bottom 45 to be. So this is now gonna be my corner brace. So I've got my saw set at 45 degrees, come down, find my mark. It's a simple 45-degree cut, no big deal. Next, we need to make the mark to make the flat spot. So this tricks some people up. As you come in, you'll see how I do it. You want your speed square on the side you cut. So you hook that on there, and then you slide it up until this measurement here says whatever flatness you want. 1.5 inches is typical what I do because that's the thickness of the 2x4 that does. So I'm gonna slide just a hair past, maybe 1 5/8 inches, make my mark. And then the saw is already set to cut this same angle when you go back straight. So you'll bring your saw out, put your cut face against your lock and stock there on your saw, and right there's your cut. Now, we have our board that's going to attach to our post and our flat spot for our locking block. For our block, it's really simple. We simply just put this up here, cut a 45 on our end, and then from the longest point, I measure back 1 foot, and we're going to cut this off, making our block. There's our block. I make them, if you measure them, make them 12 inches or 8 inches or 6 inches, whatever you want. They'll always be the same. They'll look uniform. It'll make your building look a little nicer. I do recommend at least 8 inches though, to give you space to put 2 to 3 screws in this safety block or block that your joist is gonna fit on. Okay, so we've got our block that we made inside. I go ahead and put a starter screw in it just to help me out. It goes directly against this brace here and then against this post. The important part is this angle here though. If you have to shave or take anything off or go up and down on that end, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be perfectly against that. This being flat, this angle here is what's most important. All right, so we've got our joist in. Put a couple screws up here. We'll put a couple more in that from each side. Come down here, I put a toenail into this board holding up and making it flush with the outside of this post. Next, start some screws in my block, put my block in, and now all the weight of this will sit on this block. So we'll screw these in and your angles are in, finish it up, good to go, and it will hold the weight and keep your building from shifting. This is the same principle. If this building is 100 foot long, you'll do this on every post, and the ones on the end, I typically only go to the inside, and then I'll take one to go from the outside of this post up to my joist. All right, we've got our angles in, like you saw. We've put in some boards back on this wall, and so everywhere that you have an edge that there's going to be angles, like this here is going to have an angle around it, you have to encapsulate the ends of the posts. So your boards come across that we're screwing our metal to, this space in between you need to have for your corner boards. So same thing happens on your doors, on the ends of your barn. For instance, right here we still have left to do. You can see it's missing right in here in this space. So we got to cut a board, put in here, so when we put this metal on, it holds this corner better. Same thing around our doors. I went a little overkill on the door because it was all scrap wood laying around. So we've got it cut out all the way around. Our door will now screw to that. We'll J-channel around it before we start putting metal up on the side. One issue I had that I didn't expect to do was where the door sits and the way the old concrete was chipped away, they just had rock jammed under the door. And so it wasn't keeping bugs from getting underneath the door essentially, and the bottom of the door is starting to rot. So I had to fix that. So we're gonna pour a little pad, get that up flush, get it level. I don't like doing this. So that you're aware, if you pour a pad that a door sits on, you should have at least an inch step down before your pad so that water doesn't roll up under your door. You never want your pad on the outside and your floor of the inside of your shop at the same level, because then when water hits the pad, it can actually ventrification, whatever, the effect pulls the water underneath there. Look it up. So the pad will be there, it'll be down. I'll build a box underneath where the door is going to be, but then it'll step down an inch and then it'll have another pad. So we're in the process of doing that now, but that's going to wrap up today. The wife already came out and said, hey, it's Christmas Eve. Can you like chill out a little bit? So she's not on me too much, and that's not too much to ask. You got to make time for family. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and try to make time for family today, get that all taken care of. But Christmas is tomorrow. Enjoy yourselves. Merry Christmas once again. And then we will be back at it the day before and get this wrapped up on our little holiday weekend here. Thanks for watching.